Thank you. So we'll start the meeting. We have a quorum, and we're going to talk about implementing the new code and some cases. And so I've looked at the minutes. Do we have a motion on last meeting? So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor of approving the minutes? Aye.
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 Hi.
Hi, Laura.
Hi.
And Coco, are you taking minutes this meeting or shall I?
Either way, I'm happy to take minutes.
Okay,
Sure.
go ahead. Thank you. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
How are you this morning?
Forgetful.
What happened?
That's a dermatologist thing, you know, where they put something on your face and it's supposed to take away something bad, but it gets much worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
I'm at the waiting to get better stage. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I didn't bring any papers.
That's for you, I think.
Oh, okay.
Good. Okay, and Stephen is going to be,
He'll probably be over here, right? So I can get.
I think he's
wherever you want. He's going to be a little bit late, hopefully.
on Zoom, I think. So if she wants to stay, right? Steven's on Zoom.
Stephen's on Zoom?
And I'll scoot over so I can
He's in
see.
court.
Oh,
He called and said he's in court because I really wanted him here today since we're talking about implementing. And there was a couple of things at the last minute that I wondered about, like why it passed so fast.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Like what?
You mean it was adopted 2 weeks ago and I didn't even know it?
And we didn't have a chance
No.
to look at it again. And I mean, I was working on a revision of the penalties.
You were?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know that
I think
well.
it was after you spoke at that meeting, they went and said, okay.
Exactly. But they were supposed to, according to Christina, come back on work session a couple weeks later.
Right, right.
And then we could have one more bite.
Crack at it.
Oh, but I think we should look at it another way. We were so worried about them tearing it to shreds and they just passed it. So, I think Stephen said something out saying we can redo it in 6 months, we can revise it, I think we should just be thrilled.
Yeah, with.
Are we in a public session right now?
Yes, yeah, we're gonna be in a public session for much of this meeting,
Okay.
probably. So, yeah, so we'll get Stephen here pretty soon and ask him what happened, because you weren't there, right? Neither was I, 'cause I
I
didn't-
watched it on, I watched the video.
Yeah.
So I saw you were
Yeah,
speaking. And then it seemed like as soon as you got up and left.
he did. I spoke for like 1 minute and I was getting these signals, don't say anything more, just. So, anyway, yeah, I don't think there's any major issues with it, but I think we would like to have another swing at it,
Well, there was one thing in particular that I mentioned to you that I wanted to,
clarify definitely, you know.
we could talk that in a private session, all right?
I'm gonna wait for Stephen to get here to ask him about that and about the implementation date. That's a good question. I talked to Stephen this morning. He said, as far as he's concerned, it went into effect when the state said that they received it.
Right.
And we don't have to wait for them to file it somewhere.
Well, I guess we all got a letter, got a notice from the town that we have to say that we've read the code of ethics. And I already attested to that.
I didn't see that, I just didn't.
So, yeah, so I assume that's gone out to all town employees.
Yeah.
So,
I think that was the point of it.
so clearly it's.
It's like a runaway horse.
Yeah, so what I really wanted to talk about was you guys to organize this a little bit is a better public face for us on the website. Because the website's kind of like a junior high thing. And I drafted up something that I'd like to see along the lines of, it's like the fourth page here that says Board of Ethics on the top.
You want to share it or should I call it up?
Oh, don't you have it?
I do. I'm sure I do. Why don't, you sent out on that email that had 6 attachments? Is that where it is?
Yes.
Fine, I'll find it.
It would be a PDF file that says something like web page or something.
That says what?
webpage or homepage.
Oh,
I don't
no,
have my computer
this one
with me.
says
Here, I
relative
can-
flow chart.
Yeah, it's.
I think it was just like in the body of the email.
That's right, it's in-
Yeah.
it's in the body of the email.
Here is
I'll
what it
just-
looks like now. Is that the one? Here is what it looks like now, and I click on the here. Thanks,
I can't-
Shelby.
Yeah, if you just scroll down a little in Duff's email.
Yeah,
Just a little bit, there's a horizontal line and then it starts off saying Board of Ethics.
consists of 5 members. Yep, I got that.
Yeah, okay, so this is what I would like, is something like this as a public face, kind of on the, where it starts off by saying what we do with the bullet points. And I'm totally open to edits on all of this, that's fine. And then under documents, it has some things to maybe help people understand a little better what they're supposed to do, right? Because if you just read it, like we've been doing for the last year, it can be confusing.
Yeah, and frankly, nobody's going to read it. You know, the plain English is going to be how they come to it, I think.
Yeah. So none of this is there now, but I'd like to get it there pretty soon if we can. These were, you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Okay.
It always, as I recall, it currently reads almost like it's just an internal one for us.
Yeah, it's weird, yeah.
And so I don't know if maybe you want all of that content public. I guess it already is. Or that's what I don't, I'll look at the current one.
You mean the current?
Yeah, let me look at the current one to see.
It's
Yeah,
all, this whole thing is currently on the website right now.
the thing that I sent around?
Well, the same language is on there.
The board?
Want to see?
Yeah,
Very similar.
because that would be jumping the gun a little bit.
Right now.
Oh, okay. Who did that?
Probably Christina.
Yeah, maybe Christina did that.
Oh, my God, okay.
Oh my God, it's already there. Another runaway horse.
Who is included as a related party?
These are the documents that you have looking at today.
Some of them, yeah, but this is like,
So if I
This-
double click on that.
okay, so,
show you.
yeah, I can imagine what this is. This is, Christina or somebody put up all the documents that I had shared with the
Now
town,
looking.
basically. So it's including, if you look on the website, thank you.
I'm there.
Happy to be aware.
You know, I do think it's helpful, but I also think it's excessive to have all the documents.
They have a Playing in English guide.
Yeah, but which one is it?
It's dated March 29th.
So it's the guide to the proposal.
Yeah, they're posting things that are, this is agenda and discussion documents.
Okay,
So this is,
okay, fair
yeah,
enough.
so,
All right, that's fine.
yeah, if the plain English guide could be presented more prominently.
Right, and the rewrite, the slight rewrite of it presumes that it's in effect, not that it's in proposal.
Okay, yeah, this is
There is the proposal one.
yeah, I think that's all, I think this is okay, yeah.
That's fine, I mean, all that stuff was given to the town board, so now let's,
Yeah,
anyone interested can look at it, but, you know, the point is to make this understandable by people, and especially, is there anything on disclosure and recusal on what's,
disclosure and recusal guide is there.
okay, so that, who did that? Yes, all right, I mean.
Where's Christina?
I like that because
We very often are under being criticized for not being forthcoming with documents prior to the discussion in public.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
people understand these are working drafts.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, okay,
Have you talking about something that people don't have access to,
thank you. Okay, that's awesome. I mean,
context.
it's fine. I just didn't know that, so it's good, but for me, I feel the disclosure and recusal is where this is gonna work or be more difficult. it's either going to work smoothly with disclosure and recusal or not. And that starts with disclosure, and Deborah, during our discussion of the code, wanted all those disclosure things to come to us kind of as a gathering point so we could kind of keep track of if
And what does it say?
it's in the code for everything to come to us.
Okay, so,
Just, I mean, this only applies to, what, 300 or 400 people. It's not applying to 2,000 or,
I guess I'm wondering if, is there someplace else, maybe in the employee handbook? Are these, like, is the plain English guide going to be in the employee handbook with a reference to the code on the website? Or
I doubt it, because that handbook tends to be
really long?
letter of the regulations, right?
Oh, it does?
This is, yeah.
Okay. I just wonder if people would know to come to our website to get this information.
Well,
Yeah,
once we write it, we can just send it, we can have Christina send it to all 300 employees.
yeah, I think so. For people that didn't understand that email they got a couple weeks ago, right, with the code.
The one that I signed.
You have to sign.
Yeah, right. They could look here for a little better information, and we want to get the disclosure and recusal system going.
Okay, no, fine, I just
Yeah,
think linking the website with, or coordinating the website with that would be a good thing.
oh, I do too, totally. But the handbook, I think they even have to revise some parts of the handbook that aren't compatible with the new law that they just passed probably. And it's more civil service rules and things that have to be adhered to, not a plain English interpretation.
Right.
So you guys with computers, look at the who's included as a related party link, okay? I guess,
That's your little chart.
yeah.
That's
and
the one
it's-
that you wrote relatives on? Is that?
Right, and the town board really seemed to like that to clarify things. I think it's,
Let's make sure it's 100% perfect before we publish it as a done thing, right?
yeah,
Because it's,
like for instance, we don't need the.
yeah, we don't need that
model
last
code in there.
column. Now, this nepotism policy, is that overridden by our code?
We said we referred to the employee. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think that we redefined it in there.
And obviously, we changed the title. It's not proposed anymore, it's enacted, or, it's the Shelter Island
Good.
policy. And I would take out like Perens Shelter Island Code in New York 18-809. People don't need to know. In fact, do people need to know any of this except what's on the Shelter Island Code?
I guess, Doug, when you did this, you were trying to highlight the ways in which we were consistent with the.
Yeah,
But does it matter now that the
And I-
the towns adopted it? I mean, I think it just, people just care what they have to follow because the town does it.
yeah,
Right.
I think it should just be one column, describing who we consider to be a related party.
well, it has to be more than one column because there's three different groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, I meant that. It should just be a column that replies to people, to Shelter Island. It shouldn't be,
Yeah. And
Yeah, we're consistent with the New York law. We're not going beyond it.
And, we're not enforcing the land use one.
But it's in our code.
Yes, it is, yeah. So all of it except the right-hand column and to take out the references to the state law because That's not so relevant right now.
Right, now, let's see, what do you have at the, the notes at the bottom, do those, I haven't read them yet, but are those important?
I haven't looked at them in a
Notes,
couple of
yeah.
months.
The only argument I could think of for leaving references to New York law would be if somebody objects and say, how can you do this?
Yeah,
We can
Yeah.
say, well, sorry, this is required by state law.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
okay, so at this point, we delete the right-hand column.
Comptroller model?
We
Yeah.
fact check one more time. I think it's pretty factual, and especially those comments at the bottom where there's a little bit of interpretation maybe. They call it notes.
Okay.
Yeah, the town board especially seemed to like this chart because then they could visualize things, you know.
Yeah, I think it's for our use, these notes are helpful,
Yeah,
and maybe for their use, but I don't think for the public's use, those might not cause confusion.
What is the one, the use disclosure one, the note? Isn't that already, those notes are in the chart
Yeah,
itself?
yeah, that's,
I don't know what those notes mean either.
it's just the exact wording out of the land use law, but it's spread out in the chart, so you're right.
Oh, we can take that one out, yeah,
Right.
in potential conflicts with duties. Okay,
Okay, so this is a good start. So what I'll do is just send this around once more in an editable form, and people can make any comments, and then we'll ask Christina or whoever to post this as our.
I have one question on the note under contract spending. Disclose recuse does not cure a prohibited interest. Okay, oh, got that. Note there are 17 exemptions
Right.
in the GML. People won't know what GML means.
Yeah. You know, it can be linked, it can be hyperlinked, and it could be spelled out the general municipal law.
Well, you don't refer to the GML in other times you're citing the New York law, you're saying 18-18-, isn't that the same?
Yeah.
18-202?
Mhm.
So I would
Oh,
just be
good.
consistent
Then,
with that.
then, yeah, then change GML to New York.
To 18, yeah, New York 18 dash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
That does kind of jump out at you as something being different that we don't know.
good. Okay. Let's look at the other documents. Let me have you read on those.
Sure, which one next?
Well, like you say, the plain English, let's look at the plain English guide.
Yeah, that's,
Rewritten.
I feel like that's the one I need to sit with when I've got it in Word or in a way that I can,
Okay.
because it's a lot to, well, I guess it's just 2 pages, but I'd rather do it on my own, this one.
Okay, and can you work with a Google document, that editable one?
I think so.
Okay,
And as I said, if I can't, I've got to learn. The world has moved from Word to Google. I need to know how to do this.
I don't know how to either.
you don't,
No,
so that's right, you like Word.
but I know.
I'm Mac. You're PC. right?
I'm PC.
Right. Okay, well, I'll send it around in a Word. This has gone through, I guess this was maybe mostly, but everybody looked at it before the board. Do any of you all want to make any comments on it now?
Right, one, I could say, town board adopted a new code into the prior one instead of the old one.
Thank you.
Might be a little more. It's 52 years old. That's not that old for most of us.
No, that's
I'll be 52
middle-aged.
again.
Young middle-aged.
The most compelling part of that sentence is, and ignored some of the main requirements of the state law. That's like, okay, they had no choice.
Again, the old code was also,
no,
Okay,
The
I think maybe-
antiquated code.
It might be useful is if maybe we could do like even a hyperlink or something to some hypothetical examples or
like sample cases.
That's a great example. It's
Yeah.
something that my wife suggested to me, three hypotheticals.
Yeah.
A black and white case,
Mm-hmm.
a really gray case, and a white case.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she thought an educator would be good at making those hypothetical examples.
Educator.
What else over there?
I'm
Well,
a retired.
we could modify the Siller example that we had before, which was, the town wants to, we don't have to mention, the town wants to put in new rules regulating gas-powered leaf blowers.
Mhm.
And somebody on the town board is in the business of, is in the agriculture or whatever.
Yeah.
Landscaping business, that would be a perfect example
Right.
of refusal. You'd have to.
It's kind of black and white.
Yeah.
Disclose, recuse, black and white.
Yeah.
Right, so that was
A
good.
gray
example.
case might be in the contracting arena, which is the thickest part of this. And I'm not sure how to do a hypothetical.
Well, if you can come up with a hypothetical, I'll draft the possibilities. I
Okay.
just factually, you guys are much more familiar with the kind of issues that come up than I am.
Okay.
Well,
So you might be able to think of real world examples that you could vary. To fit.
Something about septic tanks. I don't want to know if we
I
want to
don't
use
think we
that.
should touch
I don't think we
septic.
want to use that example. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I was also
It
thinking.
might be easier to understand for
I'm not sure we
employees.
should use,
Agree.
yeah, I wouldn't use Jerry either at the moment, only because.
no.
The reelection and it's so heated.
No.
Yeah.
I
No,
wouldn't
I-
talk about a landscaping business person anymore if it means Jerry.
Yeah.
No, I was just using that as an
Something like
example
that.
of a.
A town board member has a business interest.
Right, it doesn't have to be
Could be
landscaping, we
affected
could make
by-
it something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shelby, what do you think about hypotheticals?
Yeah, and I just think like personally, if I was reading this and then I saw some examples, it would help me understand it way more than
I agree.
even just
Than
reading this
speaking in the
plain English
abstract.
Still is a little,
That's
it can be
true.
a little confusing.
Does anybody have an extra pen?
There might be some,
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
So would that be like some hypotheticals at the end of this guide or interspersed in it?
even at the end, I think it's fine.
Yeah. How many? It'd be like 3 to 5 cases?
Yeah.
I think three, would do, yeah.
Just a few sentences, you know.
Do you want to
This-
draft a few?
Yeah, I can try to, sure,
Yeah.
You're
Don't
gonna
be
take the
if you
first
wanna.
crack at coming up with examples? That would be great.
yeah.
I'm happy to help.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. If you want to send it to Laura and or me, when you've got something,
Okay,
we're glad to be like a subcommittee with you on this.
You make it like a food thing, like somebody has a restaurant on the island and they're also a town board.
right.
That's really great, because I don't think anyone has a restaurant who's on the town board, so that
Yeah.
would be good, a good safety.
Yeah.
And the town is discussing catering for whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really great idea.
Or the town is discussing increasing seating capacity at restaurants or something
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right.
like that.
Good. Yeah, because that's a great idea. Because I think, when I looked at the thing that was sent to all employees to sign, that's going to be hard to understand.
Yeah.
You know,
Easy
food
for
trucks
us.
on the beach, a restaurant wants to open a food truck on
Yes,
the beach. And
Yeah.
the owner is a
Yeah.
owner of
That's
a
right.
restaurant that wants to do that.
You can kind of make it come alive that way.
Actually, easy for us to sign the ethics code because we read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once.
Okay, now, this disclosure and recusal part of the hyperlinks, all I did was have a brief introduction and then just quote the town code, so it kind of highlights that for people.
This is what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's the one that's called disclosure,
Okay.
and probably on the back of the page, you have the recusal one.
Well, what I'd like to be in here is how one actually recuses, because, you know, we've had an example of improper recusal. So I think it's really important, since clearly we didn't know this, to tell people what it means to recuse.
In the recusal link doc, yeah, but it's right in our code also. It says the person may not be in the room, et
Well,
cetera.
the person wasn't in the room. He was
Should it be
outside
in
the room.
writing? Should a recusal be in writing? Or just-
Disclosure is in writing.
I don't think that's the point. The point is the method by which this person recused. He announced in advance he had to recuse, so that all documents went to somebody else on the committee. That was appropriate, but the method of recusal was inappropriate.
Yeah, you know, the comptroller and attorney general have made more statements about recusal, about the importance of being way out of,
Hearing or.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I
Absent themselves from
feel
the
like,
meeting.
yeah, I want everybody to really have I don't want anyone to say, but I thought I recused.
such hypothetical person will be educated further as to what
Yeah.
recusal means.
Well, it says once recused, a person may not be in the room or appear via video conferencing when the matter is being discussed, voted on, nor participate in any discussions or communications, including email. chat.
Well, this person followed all those guidelines, so that's not good enough.
Wait, so you're saying that there's a real world situation where this happened and somebody did it badly?
Yes.
It'll come up.
I mean, it doesn't, say, you know, not being in the room, it doesn't say, and not being listening to the conversation.
So we can't cover every little. No,
I mean,
know.
you mean they're sitting outside the door listening?
Yes, so what we need to do is maybe say
Because that has
something.
an influence on the group. The whole
With the door
point-
open in visual sight to everybody.
The whole point's to not have an influence.
So they have to go sit in their car.
Well, I guess if they're gonna behave like children, you know, I'm sorry, you know, I guess it has to be clearer.
So what we could do in this recusal hyperlink, we could quote out of the comptrollers and the attorney general's guidance on recusal, which has several long quotes that we've talked about in the course of the last year about how far recused they have to be.
Okay, so that would be good, but I'd also like it in English.
Sorry, whatever.
I
Well, in
think
the
that's
plain-
great. I think it's great that we do what you're saying, because we show that we're not making this, we're not being capricious, you know, that it's really there, but I think it also needs to be super plain English, so there's no getting around it.
So do you think that the code's inadequate? Because can we say, I mean, you're talking about the plain English guide, right?
I guess so.
Yes.
Or in this section.
So I know, I'm looking at this too.
So
we could-
Duff, do you want this to be a standalone document? This document, disclosure?
What about in the plain English guide, what does recusal mean? Is that in the plain English guide? What does recusal mean?
It's in one or two sentences in there. It's not all.
Okay, so maybe expanding that in the plain English guide and saying, you know, when it says may not be in the room, that means not within earshot or visual contact with the room.
Right,
Right.
We can, I mean, we can interpret the code that way. I think that it's okay for us to interpret the code that way.
Yeah,
That's not beyond the pale.
There is
thing.
recusal in the plain English guide.
Right here.
yeah, that would be fine with me. Those are.
not much. This
Straightforward.
recusal doesn't.
It doesn't really define
It doesn't.
recusal in here, I don't think.
There should be a separate thing saying, what does recusal mean?
Yeah, we
And
should
it
have.
should be in bold.
Yeah, no, another question, right? And maybe
Yeah.
you could also have one, what does disclosure mean?
Oh, yeah, right, like, it's in the second bullet of the plain English guide, it says, if an employee has a financial interest, they need to disclose and recuse and step back. The supervisor or other members of the group can make the decision.
Stepping
Okay,
back
but
is
that doesn't mean,
fine.
what does disclosure mean? What does recusal mean?
Right. So that should be more like,
A separate question. What does disclosure mean?
Oh, I
And what does
see.
recusal mean?
So we're not changing the code, we're just interpreting it.
We're
Yeah,
interpreting it. the code.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
Could be,
So I think we have something in the code for saying
After the
how to
vote.
disclose. Isn't it a written disclosure to your
yeah, there's
supervisor?
specifics on that, right?
So,
Or if you are the supervisor, who do you disclose to the town board?
In the minutes of the group. So it could be like another whole question
Yes.
after the bullet points, but before, what does the Board of Ethics do?
because key to this whole code is recusal and disclosure, or
Mhm.
disclosure and recusal.
Right, so what does disclosure and recusal mean? And then we write that in a way that's clearer. And we can also put the Attorney General's and Comptroller's guidance on that other document.
And you could, it start off by saying, and maybe it already says this, many problems raised by the ethics code can be cured with disclosure and recusal. What does recusal and recusal mean?
Yeah,
That kind of thing.
That's
Okay.
good.
Because that's really at the heart of the whole code is
Right.
disclosure and recusal.
do you want to draft that?
Sure.
Okay, so it's after the bullet points, because we'll have to see where recusal's mentioned in there, and it's another cue, what do disclosure and recusal mean, or something
Right.
like that.
After the bullet points on the plain English guide, is that where you are now?
Yeah,
I might even put it more prominently.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I thought maybe the order of these things should be swapped around a little bit, but I wasn't, sure.
I'm just not sure how you,
I might just expand on this, just say with a Word document. I could do it.
if I could get it in Microsoft or DOS.
DOS.
Okay,
How about Word Perfect?
yeah, well,
Oh, gosh.
How about AI to just?
Yeah, really, AI, take care of this for us.
okay, so that sounds like a good plan.
Okay,
And we'll get there, and this thing we've got, and then there's a couple, basically, flowcharts on a financial interest in town contract and the legislation. Now, these are answer.
Duff, which flow chart on contracts or flow charts on discretionary acts? Which one are we on now?
Let's look at it in contracts.
Okay. Oh, look at that.
This was not something that I propose we link on our website or anywhere.
is this for our use or the town
It was
board's
for the
use?
town board's use, and it's on our website now because it was put up there as part of our agenda,
Okay,
right? It was just for the town board. And as we have cases and learn about real-life applications, we can see how well this applies. I think it applies well
well, it's probably already on the website.
as part of our agenda today.
Okay.
It's not on our ongoing website.
Okay,
Because ongoing, I think that my proposal is that we just have the code, the plain English guide, disclosure and recusal on our website.
so you're saying could we possibly have, you don't want to have all the agenda stuff and the minutes and stuff?
Oh, yeah, the minutes. You got to have the minutes. So our documents would just be the code, plain English guide, disclosure and recusal, our annual report and our minutes.
Okay, so we could separate out, I don't want to use the full final documents or enacted documents or approved, as opposed, well, because I thought, I'm sorry, let me look back at the thing.
This has been posted on our website now because it's part of our agenda discussion. These more complicated ones, the flowcharts, which are complicated, but it helped me a great deal in envisioning what might happen and explaining, talking to the board about it.
Well, it's sort of
I don't
like
think. Go ahead.
internal documents to us and external documents.
Yeah, and these are more internal, I think.
Okay,
Do you have thoughts, Deborah?
Thank you. Well, first of all, that I prefer flow charts that are not in graph, in chart, that are more like free flowing flow charts as opposed to ones that are in grids like this. Like if yes or no, my eyes having a hard time understanding, my brain's having a hard time understanding this laid out this way. I'm used to ones where you physically follow a line and the line keeps moving. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I guess you guys don't understand what I'm saying. I'm used to ones that aren't in a.
It's not a flow chart in the normal sense. Where
Exactly.
you start out with a question and then it branches off.
Exactly, branches off, and then you keep following, if your answer is yes, you go one way on the chart, and if it's no, you go a different way, and from there.
Yeah, that's a
yeah.
flow chart in the normal sense. I wouldn't just really describe this so much as a flow chart, but it could be
Yeah, so
converted by.
Yes, my first comment is I have a harder time following this because I'm extremely used to the other one. And the second thing is that I don't think there's any harm in us having it up there because it'll tell people where they stand in the process if they want to really flow along with it and see where their issue is. I don't think there's anything private about it or that'll come back and bite us or that is confidential or any confidential and private mean the same thing. Sorry, you know what I mean.
Or internal or external.
I think it should be I don't have a problem with it being external. I think the more we show that we've really got this nailed down and that we've done our due diligence and that we're really on top of this, the better we're going to look. And this is one document that shows that we are.
Let's make sure we're going to be held to it if we post it publicly. So we have to make sure that it's perfect.
Okay, that's.
That we haven't,
Is that a problem? But I mean, I want to be held to it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I want to do it right so that I want to be consistent across all cases.
So if we look at this specifically, the flow chart or whatever on financial interest in legislation, that's pretty simple. That's just one line flow chart across there. It ends up with exceptions, but actually there are 17 exceptions. Okay, so that one's pretty simple, and then it quotes the law down below.
Okay.
The flow chart on financial interest is much more complicated because the issue is,
You want me to try to redo it? And I think I could maybe play with
sure,
computer to see if I could do it in the way that Laura and I are talking about. I bet you
absolutely,
there's a way to learn how to do that.
right?
And if I have trouble, Shelby, who's the kid in the
Yeah.
room, can teach me how to do that.
I know, you need somebody that, has to do this stuff.
I can help you.
Okay, great. You know what we're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
How it flows
Mhm.
from- Yeah, great. Like
Yeah.
there's a little circle and the circle says yes, and then there's an arrow.
Yeah.
2 arrows coming
I
out
feel
of
like
the
this
circle.
might make it a little more,
Yeah.
I agree that the way it's arranged might make it a little more confusing than it actually is.
Okay, so I'm writing down that
It is
that's my,
difficult, it's
So-
descending.
so I'm taking on financial interest in town contracts and the other one
Yeah, you can,
too. I'm just taking on the 2 flow charts.
yeah, make them consistent looking. I had what was a more traditional flow chart for the town board in when issues arise, that they like that. An employee can ask for opinion on themselves. Secret answer. That's one flow, and the other one was what we have now, where it goes to the town board ultimately. They like that flow chart because it was very simple. These are more complicated subjects.
Yeah.
But if you can clarify them, that's great.
Okay.
All right, so let's take another,
I won't be clarifying. I'm just going to be making it look different.
yeah, okay. And then we'll fact check it all again.
Okay, great. And then when I do this, you've got the words down below, from 813. Should the words stay on there?
I think they should be, because
Yeah.
it refers, the questions
Explain.
refer to the statute below.
Okay, fine. Then Shelby and I.
And you got to decide again, we've got NYGML as a
Yeah.
site, you got to cite it consistently. I would just say 18 dash, Article 18, yeah,
18.
because we don't refer to the GML, I don't think much at all in the
No.
code.
So how does 801, is it 18-01? Is that what 801 translates to or something?
Yes.
Okay,
Great.
I make one more suggestion. So we talked about having 3 examples.
Yeah.
I think instead of putting them into the plain English guide, which will make it very long,
Yeah.
we have a separate bullet here under documents, and we said,
Hypotheticals.
hypotheticals. Because otherwise, we're gonna
I
have
think that's good.
Okay.
And it could, are these hypotheticals gonna be hypothetical and the employee has to guess if it's A, B, or C? And then gets the answer at the end? No?
A little quiz?
And that'll help you, 'cause you wanna-
They can be
We do
whatever.
it like on they do in the New York Times, and what property did they choose, and you could
Yeah,
guess.
Where did he kick the ball? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, where did he toss the ball in the
Right.
basketball one, did you see that?
I don't care if it is. I always learn from that I picked the wrong place.
I know, I was not.
Okay, well, we're making some good, some great changes in. So we're gonna work over these documents a little bit. Now, let's talk, I was hoping Stephen would be here, or Christina, to talk about educating town employees so they don't accidentally mess up, or educating them on disclosure, recusal. Stephen's not here, and I'm not sure what their plan is for doing anymore, just sending the code to people.
Just sending the code to people doesn't do any good. And then, having them say, technically sign something that they say they read it when they didn't,
Yeah,
because it's, hard to read.
I don't know.
Well, invite all the town employees to a Zoom meeting.
Could there be a separate booklet on ethics or something? I don't know.
Well, Duff and I we talked about this briefly, and I floated the idea that we would go as like little groups of 2 of us. Duff thinks there's about 10 committees, and we would just go and take 5 minutes of their meeting and explain this to them, and we don't have to, it doesn't have to be such heavy lifting, because if we pair up and 2 of us go to 3 meetings and 2 of us go to the other 3, I mean, it does, it won't take long, and we could attend via Zoom if we're not. I think we need to talk about, well, I educate people on policies for ethics of visiting nurse, and we never roll anything out without going to all the teams and telling them what it is.
So, hypothetically, say, so who this applies to is elected officials, full-time employees, and committee and board members, some seasonal. So hypothetically, there's 60 full-time employees. We would go over to the building department and talk to folks.
Well, maybe I don't know, I'm just guessing, it's easy on like the Waterways Management Advisory Committee, because
Yeah.
they're all sitting in one room on Tuesday afternoon or whatever it is. But
Yeah.
maybe the building department has a monthly meeting of all staff or something. I don't know. I mean, maybe they don't.
Yeah.
Well, is there who's in charge of the building?
Yeah, there's a department head for each.
I mean, the department heads could be,
I think that's
the
what Christina and Stephen were hoping, that it's kind of on them to.
yeah.
Then we should meet with all department heads at some,
Yeah.
I'm not
Invite
crazy
them to
about
our
that,
meeting.
because if the department head is the violator, then and they choose not to relay the information to their staff, then the staff will be uneducated about it. I kind of like everybody to know, but if that's the best we can do for things like that fall into the category of building department, then sure. But I do feel that the group that meet on a regular basis, the committees, that we should go to those meetings and have them know in advance, and have them give us just 5 minutes, 10 minutes at most on the agenda to do this.
Like, the planning board and the zoning board of appeals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like I said, the Waterways Management Advisory Committee, and, just, it's a, list we can easily get our hands on of what exists out there.
I think that's a good idea too, to do all of the above.
And all 5 of us don't have to, storm in there. It can be 2 of us.
We could create a video like the ones that we have to do for internet security.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was wondering if there was a way we could talk to Kevin, the IT guy, about, how everyone has to do like sexual harassment training once a year.
Yeah.
If there was some sort of quick little video or.
But we would have to make it, because it'd be about our code.
I think,
Method.
well, I don't know. I mean, as someone who attends these for different organizations I belong to, I put the least amount of effort and attention, and if I'm allowed to multitask because it's a video, I multitask and I pretend I'm watching the video. So
Then do you pass the quiz?
absolutely, because the quizzes are really, the quizzes are dead simple, you know, the quizzes are, you know, do you do the, in a given situation, you know, do you use a needle that you've used before on a patient, or do you use a new needle? Well, you know, those are the kind of level of questions they ask you. So, hi, Stephen. We're just discussing whether to go in person or make a small video, or how to acquaint all staff with this new guideline.
Okay, so just let's take a step back. What do you want to accomplish?
Okay, good question. Well, I'd say
Education.
two things. One is so they actually know about it, and two is so that they later can't say they didn't know about it.
Okay, so I know Christina sent an email out with a new law. And just in looking over the code as written, it doesn't give you the affirmative authority to go on an educational tour. That wasn't one of the powers that were enumerated.
You think that requires a power, though, just to?
No.
Okay.
That's where I'm starting the analysis.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So there's nothing affirmative, but there's nothing prohibiting it. So I would like it in a more limited basis. And the more we talk about the code, the more the conversations you have about it could trump the actual code as written. And I don't want any misinterpretations of the code by us, quote unquote, educating, trumping what the code says. So we'd have to be very careful in doing it. So I would prefer like a choreographed video message going out that it's consistent to each and every group would probably be better. And then leave any questions directed to council, and then I'll bring it to you. So we can, again, have a uniform, consistent response to all questions.
It's a handbook is the way to do it, though.
Yeah.
Handbooks for shelter
Plain
island
this-
employees.
If we don't actually talk to people,
I think better to just do a handbook.
I do too. I think a choreographed video sounds horrid. But,
Yes.
But I also.
I agree
but I-
with you. I thought the two alternatives were a movie or choreographed video. I prefer a handbook, so I'm on board with it.
Yeah, outside the employee handbook, just an ethics handbook.
Well, the plain English guide.
Would include it, yeah.
With the examples that
Yeah.
we talked about earlier.
Yeah,
So we'd have 3 different examples.
with references to where the actual code is.
Right,
Because
yeah.
they've received that.
Right.
Bring Stephen up to date. We're going to draft a few hypothetical examples to help educate the
Okay,
employees that could be linked on our website.
that's great. We had actually a real life example recently of disclosure and recusal. We were discussing the IA grants and increasing the grant amount. And Meg put on the record that, you know, she's in the business of installing these things. And she asked my opinion as to whether or not she should recuse. And it was a little bit of a complicated situation because there was a substantive portion that had nothing to do with the fee increase that I thought she would be valuable to be able to remain and discuss, because she has the expertise in that area. So we segmented the fee from the substance, and she put on the record that she, you know, has this business interest, so she's going to recuse herself from talking about the fee. So when we got to that portion, she again put that on the record and stepped outside. I followed up with her and said, you know, we just need that, just put in writing, a quick writing that will file with the town clerk and the Board of Ethics.
Yeah.
She did. We've got it.
Okay.
That sounds good and a good example, I guess. I mean, I don't know all the details of what you just described.
Yeah. So again, you know how we have this IA system grant program that if you're voluntarily going to upgrade your conventional system to an IA system,
Yeah.
the town will give you some money and also the county will give you some money to do so. So they were talking about increasing it from, I don't know if it was like $6,000 to maybe $12,000. So arguably, she would have an interest because, that would increase the number of people who want to voluntarily put systems in. And she's one of the only games in town to put those systems in. So that's why we thought that it makes sense for her to recuse herself from that.
Yeah. So she recuses herself from what part of that whole discussion?
Just the fee increase. As far as they were also talking about different like sophisticated stuff about septic systems and IA systems and things and wells and this and that.
Yeah.
So she's one of the most educated board members in that area. So it would be a disservice to not have her at least, answer questions in that regard.
Cool. So her disclosure or recusal, does she specify, for instance, what she wants to recuse on?
Yes, it was just the fee increase.
Yeah. Sounds reasonable.
Yeah. Even there was.
Okay, so it's a real life example, and we can have like 3 examples that Shelby's gonna draft.
Yeah, and I think this is a good one because it shows from the top that they're willing to do it,
Yeah.
Like arguably, it's not legislation because it's not in the town code. We're not doing a local law amendment to increase the fee. It's a resolution. So, but even that, even though it's not a local law amendment, it's not quote unquote legislation, it's something within her discretion via the vehicle of a resolution. So we decided that that would be the best.
Sounds good. Hey, Stephen, let's take a step back now that we have you. What happened?
With what?
I thought there was gonna be like, 2 weeks later, the town board would have a work session on the ethics code. And instead it was passed like 2 minutes later.
They decided they didn't need another work session and they were good to go to adopt it.
Wow.
They did an amazing job at the previous work session. There was no further need for discussion, and they thought that it was imperative that that thing get adopted yesterday. So they decided to go ahead and adopt.
Yeah.
And they passed it unanimously?
Yes,
And when does it go into effect?
it's in effect now. It's every local law in New York State passed by a municipality is deemed effective upon filing with the Secretary of State. Now, what is the definition of filing? I argue that it's when we get receipt that they received it. I'm not going to wait till we get some electronic confirmation that it went through their system and it's finally up in their cloud somewhere. So I'm taking the position that we have confirmation that the Secretary of State has received it. Thus, we have filed it. We met our burden and obligation to file it with the Secretary of State.
You have an effective date then?
I can get that for you. I don't have it right. If we can maybe ask Christina, she'll have that.
Okay. We were, after it went into effect, not knowing that it had been passed, we were talking about a little bit of fine tuning. And what would be our chance to propose a little fine tuning in the future?
I think, you guys discuss it, and if you let me know, we'll look at it, we'll do a draft, and then once we do a draft amendment, we'll put it on for a work session. There's no, you're not gonna say you have to wait a year, 2 years, 3 years. If there's something that you think is time sensitive and has to be dealt with, we can do that.
Okay. Other questions for Stephen?
All right, well, I'm available via text. So if you need me for anything while you guys are meeting, let me know. And I can potentially jump on, but I have to handle a couple other things, but I am here for you guys if you need me.
Thank you.
Now, because we worked on this for a year, I have small gifts for.
Oh, yeah. If I would have come gifts with you, I would have showed up in person.
You
Yeah,
gotta come in.
what about the virtual attendees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see what they do. Check it out.
Yeah, what is it?
Ethical.
It's a stamp. It's a what?
It's a stamp
Check it
that
out.
says ethical. Did you make yourself one too, Al?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
But
so-
is it ethical to give gifts? I don't
Oh,
know.
it's a stamp.
No, no, it's not.
Wait, so let me, so what is it? A stamp that says ethical?
Yeah, you can stamp any document you want. It says ethical.
Ethical, in red.
That's great.
Does it come out on the forehead?
Yes, thank you, Dov. That's really wonderful.
Thank you. Thanks for everybody working on this.
The attorney.
No, don't abuse that.
Yeah.
We're gonna put
Well,
on
this will
your,
be,
Is that what you're gonna use for your opinions when you get?
yes.
Maybe, well, no, then we need the one that says not ethical.
but we were ethical, so. Okay, well,
Nice seeing everybody, and again, I'm here if you need me.
Okay, thank you.
well, hold on, whoa. Stephen, you can't go.
Okay.
You can stay, right, because we need council advice in an executive session to discuss the employment history of an employee.
Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is, if you have other stuff to do, I'm just gonna, I'll keep myself.
We don't. I think
Okay,
we're,
yeah, so that's,
I think we're trying to implement this and now we gotta discuss
Let's go right into
employee or two.
okay, that's fine. So can you just give me 2 seconds, because I just ran into the house? Just give me 2 seconds and I'll.
Go.
Yeah, give me
Yeah.
It'll take me 2 seconds.
What?
It'll take me 2 seconds to get out of here too. So.
It's no hurry.
If you
Thank
just
you.
motion to adjourn public session and stop recording.
We move to adjourn to discuss employee history.
I
I'll
second.
second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay.
When did you realize that this had all been published and approved?